Hello.
Hi, you okay?
Yes, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Right. Okay. So we can start straight away.
Yep.
Yeah. I have now sent you the third part of, you remember I told you there are 4 sections of 45 minutes. So we did the first one about this 3D crush, and then the DC crush tree. Then we did the second one about something about where they had some disclosure problems. And the third one today is all about target costing. But before I go into the question, I want to know how much you know about target costing, Zohaib.
I have heard of it. I've read a bit of it. Again, quite a long time ago.
Okay.
I was just listening to this guy, Michael Porter.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just listened to value chain and all that.
All right. Okay. That's good. Yeah, that is very important. But let's discuss about target costing. Or let's
I want
discuss.
to. If we can discuss that separately, I mean, just a bit of before, because what happened is value chain. I think Michael Porter, I'm listening to online, but I think it's probably best if I have a separate lecture. You know, just or
Yeah,
maybe
value
just 15
chain
minutes.
we have to do it because value chain is a very, very important one in this particular question. The logistics, because there's so much of thing that is getting added value or value being added to make the fill, and we have to discuss, and we may have probably 1 or 2 questions on the variance on the value chain.
Yep.
We will discuss.
Right. Target costing.
Yeah, so let's discuss, first of all, before we go on to discuss the target cost in very specific, let's discuss the normal way we price something. Right? Now, a fill basically is something which we need to put a price. Ultimately, at what price? Now, here you remember this Menteen, they produce films, they distribute the films. So they distribute films straight to the cinemas, and probably the arrangement is from the tickets, they get a profit share, they get a share. So ultimately it all depends on how many tickets all the cinemas in the world can sell. That may be the way they get their revenue in the B land. Maybe outside they have to sell the film. Maybe some other person will take the film and distribute it, or they may be directly distributing. We do not have that kind of big information at the moment, but that may be a way that they might do it. Right? So when it comes for pricing, one way of pricing, traditionally all the pricing was done what we call cost plus pricing method. We work out the cost. Surely we can't wait till all the actual costs are worked out, but we will work out on the estimated cost, put up a certain percentage as our profit margin, and then say this is our price. So we must get that price. That's what we normally look at. So that's the that in that case, total cost pricing, total cost plus pricing, including all the overheads, we will try to work through and see the total cost, and to the total cost we will add up a certain percentage and we will want to get the price. The other way, sometimes when the things are so bad and so in a crisis situation, we might decide not to recover the overhead, because whatever the overheads are incurred, we will go what we call marginal cost plus pricing. Only the direct cost attributable plus the profit margin will be your price.
I didn't get that one.
Second one, where sometimes in tight situations, in a very bad situation, when the country is going through, when the company is going through, we might decide the overheads are whatever it is there. Right? So forget about recovering the overhead, because if you try to recover overheads, you are not going to do well. So forget about the overheads, but recover at least the direct cost. Now in a film, what are the direct costs? What you go to produce the film, the directors, actors, all that, that is what we call the direct cost, and even including advertising. So forget about all your administrative overheads, what we normally have to recover if we have to make a profit, because there is a lot of administrative overheads like the finance salary, like the HR salary, like the CEO salary, all that. But in a tight situation, we might decide
That's not direct cost. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but those are not direct costs. They are incurred whether you produce films or
Whether
not. They
you
are
make a
incurred.
movie or not. Yes.
Yeah. So forget about those things. Ideally, you must recover everything. But if you can't recover, in the worst situation, you might want to recover the direct cost. This film has gone through some crisis. If you can't sell it to recover every cost, at least sell it to recover whatever we have incurred as direct. And that's what we call normally marginal cost plus pricing.
Marginal cost
Plus pricing. Marginal cost is direct cost. The cost that is directly attributable to the activity or the film in this connection.
Yeah, marginal cost plus pricing.
Plus markup. Plus markup. Plus markup. Markup is the profit. So for example, in that one day in Moscow, 1 weekend in Moscow, their total cost came to something like, I think, 280 plus 164, 444. Right? That was not the total cost. That was the cost directly attributable to the film. Now your total cost is totally different. You might have a lot of other overheads which is incurred whether the film is screened or not or produced or not. And that part of the overheads, normally what we do is we allocate it, apportion it according to some overhead absorption rate. So maybe the number of hours that is taken, we will apportion it. So 444 is the direct cost. It may go up by another 400 because of the overhead cost. So the total cost, for example, may be 850. Right. You might want to add up a 10% margin or a 20% profit for 850, and then you will say this is how much we must recover from this film to make a profit of 20% of 850, 170 million. That's the ideal way to do the pricing. But certain times, the things are so bad, you might find that you can't sell it for 850. But 450 is your direct cost, 280 plus 164. You might think, okay, let's take up that 450, let's recover that one.
Yes.
Right? If you don't sell the film at all, you will lose the whole, you are not going to recover anything towards the overheads. Now, for example, in this particular film, maybe the overheads are 400 million, right? So if you can't sell it at 450 even, or if you don't sell it, and you are going to lose the entire 450 what you have incurred. Also, plus the 400. So you might decide to pay, the people may not be willing to buy it at 850 plus 20%. People may be willing to buy it at 500. Right? 500. In that case, it's good to sell it at 500 million. At least you will recover 50 million towards your overheads. If you don't sell, you don't recover anything at all. So at least you can minimize losses.
Yep.
You're going to lose, but you can minimize loss. If you're stubborn, if you wait till you get the 1,000 million thing, you might not get it and you might not sell it. So those are the normal traditional ways. But today, we live in what we call a competitive environment. A lot of people are producing films. There will be a lot of similar kind of films, lot of 4D films, all that kind of a thing coming up. And all that means we have to be very competitive. So generally, in the market, for a film like this, the price is already fixed. For the American market, they might say this film can be sold only for 1,000 million, let's example.
Yeah.
1,000 million. Now we might set up a target saying, okay, when we sell for 1,000 million, we need to have a 20% profit margin. So we will work backwards. We work
Mm-hmm.
backwards. 1,000 is what we can sell because that is the maximum we can get because it's in a competitive market. You can't go beyond that one. So 1,000 minus say 20%. When we will sell it for 1,000, we set a target saying that we want a 20% on 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So then what should be the cost? We can sell it for 1,000. We want a 200 profit margin, 200 profit. So what should be
Mm-hmm.
our cost?
Mm.
How much?
Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously less than that. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the less? What is the figure? You can tell me the figure straight away. 1,000 is the selling price.
Mm.
200 we want a profit margin. So what should be my cost?
You're selling this thing for 1,000 and you
1,000,
profit
1,000. I want a profit of 200. So what should be my cost?
800. Yeah.
800. Exactly.
Mm. Mm.
Selling price minus the profit margin is the cost.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
we call my target cost.
Mm. I
Understand?
see. I see. Yes.
So
Yes.
in a
So you have a target. You have a target profit, and you have a selling price,
you have
and
a
with the
target profit and you have a sort of a selling price which you cannot control.
mm-hmm.
In a competitive market, you cannot control the selling price.
Mm.
In an uncompetitive market, you can set your selling price.
Mm.
If you don't have any competition. Now for a film like this, there may be many others film put in similar films. So you have to go to the market and sell this film. Of course, as Michael
Mm.
Porter says, if you produce something extraordinary, you might be able to fetch a price something different. But normally
Mm.
otherwise it will rank with any other film and will decide the price. The market will decide the price. You don't have too much to bargain with the price.
Mm.
So if you want to make a profit of 200, the way out is to see that you keep the cost to 800.
Mm.
If you do the costing and see the cost is 850, you are not going to do the film.
Yep.
You are not going to do the film, right? Because not worth. Because
Mm.
850, 1000, 150, that's not your target profit. So you will not do the film.
Yep.
So what you have to do is you have to look at all the time what is the target cost, the target
Mm.
profit, and then look at the target cost. When it is 850, what you do is you don't say I'm not going to do the film. You will look at that film or whatever and see whether we can reduce it, the cost to 800 million
Mm.
before we launch the film. Or even halfway through, if you think the target cost should be 800, if the cost is running at about 850, you might want to see how to reduce the cost. So we have two processes what we do for this one. I want you to note down one what we call value analysis.
Value.
Value analysis, not value chain, value analysis. ANALYSIS.
Value analysis.
Yes, value analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? ANALYSIS, value analysis. What is
Mm.
that? Now you want to keep the cost at 800, but now
Mm.
your cost is 850. So you go through every activity of the film and see, you remember pre-production, production, advertising, marketing, distribution, every area, and see where can you reduce the cost without compromising the quality of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we reduce? So you go to each item. So I remember I was working a long time back in a company, and my chairman told me, you better go to we were manufacturing garments, the shirts, and I was told you better go to that factory because they were making losses. I was asked to wait inside the factory and tell him how we can reduce the cost because we were supplying to the American market. So the price is fixed. You can't do anything with the price. If we want to make a profit, we must reduce the cost. So I went
Mm.
and watched what these people are doing every day. A long time back, I'm talking in 1980s. But what they were doing was they were putting up to pack the shirt. They were putting up something like 18 or 22 pins. Pins.
Mm.
For the shirt, they had about 7 buttons.
Yes.
7 buttons. So what I told was, okay, you don't need 7 buttons because the people are not, when they are going to buy a shirt, they are not going to count the number of buttons. They want to
Mm.
see that they cover the body, and but
Mm.
of course they will be looking at the material. So you can't compromise on the material, but you can
Mm.
reduce the number of buttons from 7 to 5.
Mm.
Increase the space between the two buttons
Yes.
and reduce
Yes.
the number of buttons. So when you reduce that number of buttons, for every 7 buttons, we are saving 2 buttons.
Mm.
The safety pins, they were put in some 22, it was reduced to something like 9 or 8.
Mm.
When you do that one, what you are doing is, without compromising the quality of the shirt, without compromising what is the customer wants, you have reduced certain cost, and that process is called value analysis.
Mm.
And when you go through that kind of a value analysis, finally you may be able to end up with a profit. So in
I
that
see. See. Yes.
garment company, I remember, after doing all those things, ultimately they ended up making profit.
Mm.
Customer did not complain saying that the number of buttons have got reduced to from 7 to 5. Customer did not complain saying the number of pins are reduced from 20 to 18, because they were not worried about the buttons. They were worried about the shirt.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
So like that in a film, that is what we call value analysis. Then we have
Mm.
something called functional analysis. Now, for this film, there may be certain overheads what we are charging. Overheads
Mm.
arises from various functions we have inside the company.
Mm.
For example, we might have a finance division, we might have a HR division. You remember in the old businesses, old companies, they had something called inward outward mail department.
Mm.
A person was there to receive all the mail uh, and to distribute all the mail. Big job.
Mm.
And there was a big cost incurred for that kind of a thing. Big office
Mm.
area, big flow area, all that. But today, actually, you don't need that. Why? Because most of the correspondence is through email.
Email.
Email. Right? So when
Mm.
you are looking today, you don't need a big area for a big rented premises for a inward, outward mail and all that. You don't need it.
Mm.
If you look at today, the old stenographers are missing. The beautiful ladies are missing.
Mm.
Hmm. You are doing almost all your correspondence on the email.
Mm.
Those days
And you can directly approach the person now, like
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
times.
because you can write it. Because those days, we have to call the secretary with the shorthand book. She will come and then we have to dictate it. She will take it on. Today, I don't think that shorthand thing is any longer there.
No, you don't. You don't miss your post. You don't say, "Oh, that post is missing," or this letter is gone missing. It's all.
Yeah, because you can correct it, you can do everything, and that's how we do it, isn't it?
Mm.
So you look at your functions in the company and decide
Mm.
what are the functions we can remove. We
Mm.
can remove without compromising the customer's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So all stenographers, all inward, postward. I remember I was working in a company. There was a called check writing section or something like that. Big crowd to keep the checkbooks and all that. Today you don't need, because the computer will do all that one for you.
Mm.
So you can look at your business in the film industry and see what are the costs can be reduced by looking at our functions. That is what we call
Mm.
functional analysis.
Yeah.
By doing all that, ultimate aim is to see whether we can bring the cost to our target.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we want to do it. If we can bring it to our target cost, then we are all right. If we can't do it, then we don't want to do the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you are starting from the scratch. But in this particular case, already the film has gone through halfway through, or 90% or 80% of the work done. We remember we went into some problems with the special effect. So here doing target costing is going to be totally a different scenario. But that is what the question is all about. So let's look
Mm-hmm.
at this question. So now you understand what is target costing. Target costing is simply where the market is very competitive, like in the film industry, where we want a particular profit target to arrive. So from the total price, deduct the the profit margin, arrive at target cost, find out whether we can do it at the target cost. If not, see whether we can do true functional analysis, through the value analysis, whether we can reduce the cost to the target. In that case, let's go ahead. If not, let's forget about it.
Mm.
That is simply the target cost. So I think this question, this variant, this case study is a good target costing question.
Mm.
Right? I see a lot of questions on target costing. I think even the last paper they had something on the target costing. So they have been testing us on target costing. So this is a good question to test. That is why I did this thing. I sent you an
Okay.
answer for the first part we did on the raise.
Yes, I was reading that this morning. It was quite
Yeah.
good. Yes.
Now
Very
that was just to give you an idea, the kind of an answer that you should be writing and the size of the answer also.
Kumar, did you say Michael Cortes or is it Michael Porter?
Porter, P-O-R-T-R.
Yes, but I wrote Cortes, then I was putting Cortes, I couldn't find anything, and I found a Porter.
Yeah, Porter, P-O-R-T-E-R.
Yes, I remember, yes, remember,
Yeah.
I studied that before as well, actually.
Yeah.
Range.
He's a very important person for our managerial case study.
He's still alive. I was surprised he's still...
Oh, yeah. I think I mean, the things are very, very recent. His books
yeah,
and, yeah.
Harvard Business School. He teaches there.
Correct. Yeah. He has some good articles about all these things, and he only into the five forces also
Mm,
about
mm,
various barriers and all that kind of a thing, and also about the competitive advantage.
yes. Got a
He's
book
a
for...
very useful person for our case studies and all that.
Mm.
And the other one you must read is Ansoff, ANSO double F.
I've heard of that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that is all about existing products, existing markets, existing products, new markets, new products, existing markets, and new products, new markets.
Mm-hmm.
The matrix, how you can grow in the business.
Mm.
Right. So basically that's the idea that what I want to create on you.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's look at this thing. Did you have any time to go through this question?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So here, this is a typical variant I have seen, a kind of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you submitted the report requested by Isabella that evening. Remember what was so now we have to remember how it is flowing. The first one was all about the raise, and second one was something about the disclosures, about the delays and all that. So you
Yes.
made the report and said that there no need to make a provision, all that kind of a thing. And after that,
Mm-hmm.
next day, she's asking you to accompany her for a meeting with Anton Chan. So Anton Chan is the distribution director.
Mm.
So he is actually ultimately responsible to see that we get the revenue, because he is the man who is really working on selling the film. So he is still disappointed with special effects modification done by Jonathan's and believe film if screened as it will be a flop. So even at this moment, he believes it's not going to be a success. This is our first 4D film and I cannot afford a failure. Howell, so you have to remember who is Howell. Howell is one of the non-executive directors who is in the board.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Howell is, I think, one of the fellows who was in the board. So these names are very important. Because in the question they might give you who is Howell, but still it's good for you to know. Howell has been a non-executive director since 2012. He has had a successful career as a film director and joined Maintenance Board after retiring from filmmaking.
Yes.
So, at this moment, I want to tell you about the non-executive directors. Who should be the non-executive directors in any company? Non-executive directors, they are not working people, right? They are people,
Yes.
they may be working elsewhere, but they are not working in your company. They come for the board meetings. They participate in various committee meetings like audit committee, nomination committee, and remuneration committee. They are basically, their idea is to challenge the strategies or whatever the long-term plans that is presented to the board by the executive director, the CEO and the executives. They are responsible for the strategy of the company. Whenever they come out with something, these non-executive directors will challenge their strategy. Challenge for the benefit of the company. They challenge it and they will assist us to reformulate the strategies because they are people with lot of experience. Experience in diverse areas. Some are experienced in finance, some are experienced in filmmaking, some are experienced in the legal framework. So they come with lot of external experience. They don't have any internal experience in maintaining, but they come with lot of external experience. So whenever we are appointing people as non-executive directors, we must look at couple of things. One thing, whether they have the experience to contribute to the board. Right? We don't want some nice people to come and sit on the board who are not going to contribute. So they must be real people who has the experience, the skills, and the knowledge who can contribute. Then the next thing, they must have time availability. If they are a non-executive director in 20 companies, 30 companies, surely they will not have time for you. So they must be people that who has time, and also the people with integrity, the people with some reputation, because the quality of the board goes up when you say so and so is also a board member of our company as a non-executive director. So those are the attributes of a non-executive director. So this after last case study, they did not have anything mentioned about the board, but this time they have put up something about the board, 2 pages. So I'm sure they will ask something about the good corporate governance, who should be the non-executive director, that kind of a thing. So we will look at those things in one of the later marks.
Okay.
Okay. So Howell is the man who is now telling our and saying that, Howell tells me that he could get one of his contacts Plat A to do special effects of high quality, which will meet our expectations. So they are not happy with all that. So they are. This man is suggesting, because he is having a lot of contacts with the film industry. He's a career.
When we told them as a finance manager, my suggestion would be postpone the film and just redo it.
Yeah. So probably they have not agreed with your idea of postponing. They still want to do according to the plan, right? So, but they are prepared to probably incur some more cost.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is what is happening, right? Because now they are not talking about a postponement. We suggest it. But they probably think it's not good to postpone it, because when they postpone, they have some other risks. They might be thinking, after discussing all the pros and cons, they must be thinking it's good for us to go through the film.
Yeah.
So basically this man would have discussed with Howell, and Howell says that they can get high quality special effects, and I have brought alone a costing based on the basis of using Plat A. We need to keep cost to 550 million in order to make break even. Now this is what I call the target cost. In order to break even, not even to make a profit, just to ensure that we don't make a loss, we have to keep the cost at 550.
This is where we're talking about just the marginal cost, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. This is just to break even, not even to make a profit. But to break even, we need to keep it at 550. Right? I'm hoping that two of you will work with production staff to reduce cost to meet the target. To whom is he telling? He's telling to Isabella, finance director, and he's telling you, the finance manager, to work with the production staff to reduce the cost to meet the target. So Isabella, as typical finance director, is turning to you and says, hey, Zohaib, please draft a paper to Anton that sets the challenges associated with his proposed target costing exercise and indicating how the production team would be expected to contribute to it. Such target costing is a big challenge. It's not very easy, you can just put the figures, but where to reduce? Already the film is produced. Do you remember? Already the film is produced. How can I come down to 550 now? So that's my challenge now. So Isabella is telling you, hey, tell Anton Chan, prepare a paper and tell Anton Chan what are the challenges that we are facing and how can the production team contribute towards that one. You have to remember these production people, marketing people, they are real people who want to incur cost. Right? They are not the people like the accountants who are bothered about the profit. They are very not cost conscious. They are extravagant on cost. If you don't have the finance people controlling any of these companies, none of these companies will exist because they are not bothered about the profit and all that. They want to put the best thing, that thing, all that kind of a thing. Right? So then Anton is turning and saying, I'm informed by DC3 production team. So remember, for every film, they must have a production team. They are reluctant to work with finance.
Yes.
They frequently complain that finance holds them back by constantly complaining about the cost of this exciting 4D venture that they are producing. I think they may be unhappy about working alongside finance. This is typical organizational problem. Because the production people will try to portray and say, look here, we are doing something exciting, something new, we have to incur losses, this, that, and the other. The first time you can't make profit and all that. But we finance, we are looking from a different angle. So
the
this is
creative people, they don't like the monetary challenges.
They don't like this monitoring challenges, operational people, they don't like it at all. Because they want to, they are very innovative people. They want to do something different. So when the others come and say cost is exceeding, budget is exceeding, they don't like it. They feel that we are the obstacles for them.
Yeah.
Demotivators. So then again, Isabella is turning to you and say, hey, Zohaib, please address Anton's concern about the attitude of the production team to the target costing exercise in your paper. Attitude of a non-financial section to the production section, to the finance section. Typical things what we see in an organization. So let's look at this costing what our friend has done. So DC3 revised costing. Payment for story rights 35, screenplay 18, producers fees 19, directors fees 14, actors fees 48, production and post-production cost 65, special visual effects 136. You remember in the pre-scene it says 80. 80. Sorry, 80. Right? Original budget was 80. Then we spent another 20% extra with Jonathan's. It came to 96.
Yes.
Now, with the plot, we want to do something and it is going to be 136.
Yeah.
So you can see. And then of course, music, TV advertising, newspaper advertising, radio advertising, outboard, cinema, appearances. Total cost is 571. The revised total cost is 571. What is our target? 550. 550. Right? So we have to see, now this is our challenge. We have to bring down it by 21 million. 21 million, right? So if you look at as a percentage, 21 over 571, 21 over 571, it's about 3.6%. We have to reduce the cost.
Mm.
So I remember those days when we were working on this kind of a thing. What we do is, okay, it's only 3.6% no. So we can reduce 3.6% is not a big task. That's what we think. But now you have to remember something. Bulk of this cost, if you look at, you can always compare, if you have time, compare with that one weekend in Moscow and see the cost variances. You remember they gave a cost structure, no?
I lost you there. Say again.
Yeah. You remember that they, in the pre-scene, they gave you a cost structure for a typical film, box office film, 264 plus 184, 44 for that 1 week in Moscow. And you can see the lines are almost on those lines. The big variance is coming on the special visual effects. Look at the pre-scene.
Yep.
Look at the pre-scene. The special visual effects for that film was 80.
Yes.
Now we are going to spend 56 more on this film. And you can see the cost has gone up purely because of that one. Other costs also have gone up. But it's all right. They say they can 550 is all right. So we have to work out a little calculation and say the total cost reduction what we are looking at is about 3.6% of the total 571. So when you look at like that one, you don't think it is big, it's a big task. Because if you can reduce everything by 3.6%, it's not a very big task. But the problem here is, this is where the business skills will come. The problem here is almost all activities are already done. The film is done. Film is 100% done. Where do we have room for saving, Zohaib, now? That's your challenge. Where do we have room for savings now?
Advertising?
Advertising also, you remember in the pre-scene, what did they say? 90% of advertising is incurred before the film is launched.
That's true. Yes.
Can you remember? Now this is why we need to return to the pre-scene, read it, because you are right.
Yes.
Because normally you would have thought in a company, if I was working, I would have definitely thought we'll reduce the advertising. But we can't do that one. Almost 90% incurred. So where can we? Can we reduce the actors' fees? No. Can we reduce the director's fees? No. Can we reduce production and post-production costs?
Nope.
No. Where can we reduce it? What is not incurred? Yeah.
Special effects not incurred yet. But
what is not incurred? Exactly. What is not incurred is, yes, special visual effect, that extra 40 million not yet incurred. Isn't it?
If we can reduce that to 19 million.
That's correct. So what we have to look at is whether we have to see whether we can do anything. The challenge will be, because the challenge is many of the costs that is appearing is almost similar to our earlier films, if you go by the 1 weekend in Moscow, and already incurred. So we are unable to change any of them. This is your challenge. Right. The only area that we probably can do a review and change and under direct control is the amount that we have to pay to Priority. The 40 million.
Yes.
Right. Maybe little bit on the advertising, as you rightly said, because on the advertising we have something 90, 40, 130, about 171. 140, 151, 171, 199, about 215 we have still on the advertising. Maybe we have about 10% yet remaining, because generally we spend about 90%. Of that one, we may be able to save something.
Another 20 million there as well left.
Yeah.
10%, yeah.
Yeah, maybe because there's another 10%. So maybe out of 10%, you can save 5%, for example. So you have to look at two areas. You have to look at from that. You have to save 50% of your balance advertising expenditure. 20 million may be there. Maybe whether we can review it and see whether we can save about 50% on the balance advertising. 20 million is there. If I can save 10 million there, and then we have to renegotiate with Plate using the influence of our Howell. Howell
Yes.
is a non-executive director.
House contract.
Yeah, because why we bring these people into our setup is because they have the context, so they can be used in a professional manner to reduce the prices. So that's the challenge that you will have to face. So you have to convince the production people and the distribution people to reduce the advertising, whatever that is balance left over. So what are your points? You are going to say bulk of the expenditure is incurred, and already it is in line with the other films what we have launched.
Yeah.
The only area that is left over is in the advertising. We may be left with about 10%, which is normally the case before the distribution of the film. And also we will have the whole amount to plot it, because the special effects are going to be very, very costly. We have incurred 16 million and another 40 million here. So if there is any way of negotiating with Jonathan's, getting some concession from them on the 16 million, it may be a good thing. If we are not paid them, if we can negotiate and still say that we are not satisfied and get something without upsetting the relationship with Jonathan's, it's a good thing. Right? So these are your challenges. So you probably want to take up the challenge, or rather tell them the challenges that what we face will be to discuss with our distribution team and the production team, and to see how we can reduce the cost. Advertising. The balance advertising, not the whole advertising, the balance advertising. It must be very, very specific, because the pre-scene says 90% already incurred. So what 90% incurred you can't, so on the 10% what is there, you may be able to do something about it. So that is something you probably want to do it. Then the next part is about negotiating with Plate and see whether we can get something from those people. Right? Yes. And to use the influence of Howell, who has contacts with them, who has known, explain it's a break even we are looking, not a profit we are looking, and they may be, willing to come down on their price. This is what your challenge is going to be. Remember that we are not going to make a profit, we are going to just end up with a break even. Right? So these are my points for that question, that part of the question. You can improve on that one. So these are some of the things which came into my mind, which I thought is all right to put it up on the paper. Now we have another second part. Is it all right, that part?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Right. Now we have another second part to that question. What is the second part? Because our Anton Chan says, you finance people, our production fellows are not willing to work with your people, because, you finance people are, real people who are talking about the costing and all that, and they don't want to work with you all.
Mm.
So how to challenge that one? How to, so what is the question? So let's look at the question again. They are unhappy. I think they may be unhappy to work alongside the finance.
Mm.
So what is our lady saying? Please address Anton's concern about the attitudinal problem. So how are you
Mm.
going to address that one? How are you going to address that issue?
Explain, we need to explain that professionally that, you know, the intention is to, this is our job
Yeah.
as a part of, you
Mm-hmm.
know, as part of the team.
Good.
This is what we do. Our job is to challenge
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
you know, plans, monetary plans, and we need to
Mm-hmm.
challenge them
Mm-hmm.
coming from creative side or
Mm-hmm.
finance
Mm-hmm.
or you know, filmmakers. We have to challenge that
Yeah. Yeah.
and we have to make sure we can save and we can cost we can we
Yeah.
can help reduce cost as
Mm-hmm.
much as we
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
without challenging or without affecting the product.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our job to
Yeah.
maximize the productivity,
Yeah.
and all that is based on the past papers, past numbers we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
The time we come back or we challenge them back is on the experiences where we have with the
Yeah.
previous movies,
Yeah.
films,
Yeah.
we perform, and also we also one of the reasons we do this because
Yeah.
we keep uh, we keep
Mm.
we keep ourselves aware of the current situation of the market,
Yeah.
and we know exactly where the market is going, and we
Yeah.
can forecast
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
or predict very reasonably well and
Yeah. Yeah.
how much we can spend and where we can break even or where
Yeah.
we can start making profits,
Yeah.
uh, and
Mm-hmm.
and all these actions eventually
Mm-hmm.
increase the longevity of the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It increases the life, makes the life healthy,
Yeah.
company's life healthy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it pays the bills basically.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, only issue, I think what you said was very correct, but only issue is now if you were asked to go and explain this to the production team, your answer is right.
Hmm.
But here, the you have been asked by Isabella to address the Anton's concern to Anton.
Okay.
Understand? What you said was very correct. What you said was all that is correct. That is, if you are going to explain to those people, you have to, put a helmet and go there and explain the things to them in a
Mm,
very gentle, nice way and say, look here, why we are doing all that, this, that, and the other. But here,
mm,
Anton is telling, our production guys are not willing to work with your guys.
mm,
So your boss is telling, hey, Zohaib, take this Anton's concern and tell him. So when you are telling Anton, this is what I call the people skills. You have to be totally different. You have to tell
yeah.
Anton straight away, it is totally unacceptable for any employee or any section of employee to refuse to work with any other colleagues, regardless of
Mm.
their perceptions. You
Well,
have to be
work as a team.
you have to work as a team.
Mm,
You have to say, for them to say that they are not people unable to work with them is totally unacceptable.
mm,
Any that kind of a division will lead to inefficiencies, incomplete
yes.
resolution of problems.
Mm,
There can be lot of confusion on communication with external stakeholders,
mm,
because production people will go and tell something, finance department will go and say something. So as you rightly said, all will have to work in one team.
mm,
Producing a film, selling a film, distribution of film, everything is one team. So it is totally unacceptable for one party to say that they can't work. Because
mm,
that should not be the organizational culture. Because you're talking to a very senior director so you have to tell the fellow, look here, this is totally unacceptable. And
Mm.
if this is tolerated, it will lead to inefficiencies.
Mm.
And the film production people should be told in no uncertain thing that they must, just like what you said, they must produce a film that can be sold at a profit and which is going to maximize shareholder wealth.
Mm.
We are not here to provide exciting environment to the production team to do any new innovations and for the shareholders to suffer a loss because we are a listed company.
We are business. Yeah.
Yeah, we are a
Exactly. We don't need.
listed company. Our idea, our objective is to maximize shareholder wealth. So we are not
Change
here to
company.
bring excitement and give a kind of a learning school a facility for the production people to spend money and to have failures.
Yes.
So you have to be very, very firm when you are making this kind of a thing because you are not going to talk to the production people. You are going to speak to the director and tell, look here, this is totally crazy, intolerable,
Mm.
right? We
Mm.
are not here. When I say we, it's not the finance. The company is not here. Menteen is not here to provide our production team with exciting environment where they can develop products which is of interest to them, whether it's 4D or 5D, and make losses.
Yep.
Any exciting thing that what we are going to do at a financial cost, which is going to end up with a loss, is unacceptable.
Mm.
That must be made very clear.
Mm.
Right? And you must tell the production department should regard finance as a facilitator.
That's a good word. Yep.
Finance as a facilitator. You remember when you looked at the value chain, you would have come across the secondary function, the infrastructure, and finance
Mm.
is one of those infrastructure, the facilitator. Finance should be always regarded as a facilitator.
Mm.
Finance is not there to reject any good project that
Mm.
has a commercial value.
Yes.
If finance is not in existence,
Mm.
the production team will not have the tools and facilities
Mm.
to undertake the film production activities for them. So you have to remember that you are in the finance and the finance is a very important part of your organization.
Mm.
So you have to say, right, if finance did not exist, then the production people will not have the tools and facilities which will enable them to undertake new films.
Mm. Makes
Or
sense. Yep.
yeah, also we should feedback to finance division. Also
Mm-hmm.
we should give a feedback to finance division to improve communication.
Mm.
Because we have a problem because we finance sometimes our communications are not very good.
Yep.
So so it's not only blaming the production people, we have to make a very positive suggestion. This is what a good answer is. We have to make a very positive suggestion and say this response should be given back to our own finance so that for them to improve communication.
Mm.
Ideally, the finance should deal with any other department such as production in a helpful and a constructive manner. I want you to note down that word, in a helpful and a constructive manner.
Yep.
If it is necessary to reject certain expenditure, then
Yep.
that should be properly communicated, clarified to the production department.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be encouraged
Yep.
to submit revised proposals
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Revise proposal.
right? To revise proposals to have a clear commercial logic in the future.
Mm,
So it's a two-way business.
mm,
One way, you tell the people that they have no right to do things without the finance. Finance is very useful. It's a facilitator. Other side, you are
mm,
telling the finance people, go and improve your communication. If you are rejecting something, tell why you are rejecting all that, so that they can, come out with better, new, improved versions.
mm.
This is the kind of an answer that we should be writing, Zohaib, for this question.
Yep. Mm.
So probably you
Make
will,
it
yeah,
make it professional, and yet make him aware of the number
exactly,
one, number one, that you are, you're not happy and you are
yeah,
shocked, or what, in a nice way.
exactly,
It's not acceptable. This sort of behavior is
yeah,
childish.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't say
yeah,
that, but that's the whole thing behind it. And number two, uh, make him remind, or make him, realize or remind him of the importance
yeah,
of the finance department
yes,
in
yes.
the
The
company.
role of the finance division,
Exactly.
yeah, role of the finance division, and also
Mm,
tell the people that, even to the finance, that there's some feedback coming from these people saying they are not happy to work. You can't force the people to work with the finance when the finance is not doing very well. So you have to look at uh, uh, the different versions and see what we can be done.
mm,
Yeah.
yep.
So that's a kind of an answer you should be. So your start probably will be, we will say that I'm happy that the company had decided to go alone with the film on the
Mm-hmm.
scheduled date, even with additional cost. But I'm
Mm,
certain that we will only end up with a break even, not a profit.
mm,
However, being the first 4-day film, it's all right, something like that we can say.
mm.
And
If
probably
the
yeah,
quality film is okay,
yes,
uh,
yes.
and eventually, exactly,
Yeah,
it will affect
because
our reputation.
yeah,
We
because
can
it's
set a
a
good.
learning experience, learning curve. So long as we don't make a loss, should be all right, kind of a scenario. And finally, you might want to end up saying that you are prepared to take up the lead role to take the matter to the production department and to communicate and to bring these two sides together.
Mm,
You've been a SIMA qualified, you have that aptitude to do something on a scenario like this. So you might want to go for something like that.
mm.
Yeah.
Speak. What would you say? Speak. Talk to him. First
No,
thing.
because now some person will have to talk to the finance and the production people, get them
Mm,
together,
okay. Yes.
right? Because when the husband and wife are not talking, some person will have to mediate and bring them together. You
Mm,
can be the
that's good.
mediator.
And then they get together, and then they both start hating that person who put them together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to bring them together. You can
That's what they do.
you.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I never get involved. Let them fight. They will make up,
Yeah,
because if
right.
you because
Yeah, yeah.
as soon
Yeah,
as you
exactly.
together, as
Exactly,
soon as you're
right.
together,
Finally, you become the bad
because of
person.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as they're together, they tell you, because of you they had problems.
True, 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 true. Very correct. Yeah. But in business, some person will have to bring that initiation.
Yes, the
So
ball
this is
rolling.
a,
Yes.
this is a good answer. This is the way we must go forward.
Mm. Cool.
Okay. So we have another session tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I think.
Yes. Yes. Is
Yeah.
there another mark for it,
Yeah,
or?
yeah. I think we will. I'll think about it. I have not still worked it out, but I'll try
Okay.
to work out a mark for you on the fourth section of this one.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, yeah. We will work
Cool.
it out something.
We can decide for the weekend tomorrow, if that's okay.
Pardon?
we can decide about the weekend for
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. Saturday I'm all right, but Sunday is the Christmas here.
No, no, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Saturday I'm all right. Saturday we can decide something.
Okay, okay, okay.
How are you on Saturday?
Friday, you busy?
Friday.
Actually, I'm free on Saturday. Saturday suits me well.
Saturday, yeah, Saturday is all right for me also. Saturday I can do. Saturday, yeah, Saturday I can do. Saturday, what time is convenient for you?
Can we decide about this tomorrow, Friday, Saturday?
Okay, right. Let me know because
We'll be very clear. We'll be more clear tomorrow.
yeah, okay, right. So let me know tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we are meeting at
Yes,
7 o'clock. Okay.
I'm doing the road test tonight for the staff, and then
Okay. Right. I'll
thanks,
see you on
Kumar. Thank
Saturday.
you. See
I'll see you tomorrow then, 7 o'clock.
you tomorrow, 7. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.